Now to talk more about the situation in Ukraine is Ivan Eland, Senior Fellow and Director of the Center on Peace and Liberty at the Independent Institute. And Ivan, thank you so much for joining us. It looks to me that Yanukovych is losing some of his power here. Is there a possibility of a coup?
Well, I think maybe a coup from the streets. Certainly there's a lot of people rising in various cities in the Ukraine, and there's also, it's becoming more violent. So I think what you might not see a military coup, but you might just see disintegration of the society and him having to reach an agreement to leave power. I mean, anything's possible in a revolutionary situation, but he's clearly making concessions because he's losing power already.
That's right. So as we've been talking about, or we just heard in Stephanie's report, that he's offered up the position of prime minister and a couple of other key positions as well. And the opposition is saying that he's doing this only to divide them and to just try and kill off the protests.
Well, they say that, I think, though, but he's made 4 other reforms. He's agreed to reduce his power. He increased his power. He's agreed to remove the freedom of assembly and freedom of speech restrictions they put on. He's also agreed to put more opposition people on the electoral commission and also free prisoners, so the detainees. So I think he's made a lot of concessions, and I think he's going to have to make more because the opposition's not buying it. They're under pressure from their own extremists on that side to not negotiate at all.
Right. So what about even more concessions? They want early elections. Is this even a possibility?
Well, I think anything's a possibility now. Once an autocratic leader starts and shows weakness, I mean, that he depends on, people fearing him, even though it's not a complete autocracy there. I think so. Once this happens, I think anything's possible.
Okay, and what about the pressure from the West? Germany, France, the United States, pressuring him to talk. I mean, is he feeling the heat from the Western countries or mainly from the streets?
Well, I think it's mainly from the streets. You can overstate in many of these situations of revolution. It's usually internal factors that have more effect than outside forces. If anything, Yanukovych is more allied with Russia than the West. So I think the West probably doesn't have that much influence. It has some, but I think the main influence here is coming from the streets. I mean, he's in trouble. He's got a lot of protests rising, and they're rising in violence.
How much personal protection does he have at this point?
Well, the police are there, and security forces are protecting him, but I think that's eroding. So we'll see what happens. These things are, many people were predicting Assad would fall in Syria, but he has shored up his power. So sometimes people survive and sometimes they don't. Revolutions are very fluid, and of course, Ukraine has had revolutions before. So. It's anybody's guess, but I think he's definitely losing the advantage.
All righty. Ivan Eland, thank you so much for your insight and for your time.
Thank you.